Hey guys, and welcome to my first video of CSS. So, in this video we are going to discuss everything you need to know about CSS basics, not because the coding part but the introduction to CSS. So, let's get started. First thing is, let's understand what CSS is exactly. So, what is CSS exactly? So the CSS is Cascading Style Sheet is a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language such as HTML. CSS is a cornerstone technology of the World Wide Web alongside HTML and JavaScript. So this actually basically means, and how does CSS get its word? So we get the C from CSS, the S right there, the S again right there. So we basically get CSS, which is what is right there. And over here also we get CSS, which is basically just this. So you can say this or you can say this. It's basically the same thing. So now let's understand why is CSS important. CSS is actually important because it is used for describing the presentation or the style of a document written in a markup language such as HTML. CSS is the cornerstone technology of the World Wide Web alongside HTML and JavaScript. So you can create a website without CSS, but it will not be good. It will be plain HTML with just JavaScript, which we are going to learn, but it won't be good. It won't look good. So let's understand how CSS works. So basically, you have the first thing. So let's divide this into blocks, right? So first you have this H1 right there. Then you have this. You have this colored red. This. And then you can define this into more parts. Like, let's say we have this word, just this word. Then we have this colon, which is different. Then we have this red. Then we have this semicolon. So these are the different things, right? So let's understand what each of these are. So the first thing, the H1 is the selector, right? Then there's this color property with the value of red. This is the rule. Then this is the end, which is basically this ending curly brace which starts over here. So that is this is what basically CSS, how to define a CSS rule set. Okay, and we're gonna discuss rule sets later. So now let's understand CSS selectors. Now selectors are a way you can get a specific element on which you can add some rules. What does this basically mean? This basically means that if I just erase all inputs, right? So this basically means that, look, the H1 is obviously defined in the HTML, and if it's not, then it won't do anything. It won't give you an error, but it just won't do anything. So this is defined in the HTML. and this lets you this just gets that element and allows you to add rules to that element inside these curly braces. So that's what is basically the selector's job. Then there are CSS rules. So what are CSS rules? CSS rules are some styles to add to the element you get within your selector. So right here we have the rules word right there. Let me just erase that. So we basically have rules right there, which is defined right there. So the rule, which is basically defined here. So rules are some styles to add to the element you get with the selector. So this rule adds the color of red. The color of red to this H1 right there. And this is what is the selector, right? This is the rule. So that is what this does. Now, so that's what CSS rules do. Now let's get to the CSS end. So they end the rule set. A rule set is nothing but the things inside the two curly braces. Okay, what does this mean? So if you had the rule set right inside the two curly braces, right, then whatever the code would be inside would be called anything inside this is going to be called a rule set, right? So what I mean by this is saying that this starts the rule set, this ends the rule set, and this is in the rule set. So that's that. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, please be sure to like, subscribe and share to my channel, and be sure to watch my next video in which we won't cover introduction but we'll start coding. So in the next video, don't forget to watch it and please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.